Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, welcome back. Again, I'm doing a blank screen video. I know my last video was with the camcorder, but I'm currently letting the camcorder charge again, because that thing dies after like 2 hours, so it's, yeah. So I think I'm just gonna alternate between camcorder and this until I finish, fixing my setup for filming stuff on the Switch. And once I do, then I'll just be permanently at this, but with Breath of the Wild in the background. So yeah, if you haven't seen the title of today's video, we are now on, I believe, part 11 of the side character tournament. In the, I guess, quarterfinals? We have the first round of the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, I guess. Yeah. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, basically I am comparing two of my favorite side characters against each other, and the winner will move on to the next round until we have an ultimate winner of the side character tournaments. I've been doing this tournament for several months now, so it has evolved a little bit, but it's mostly the same as it was at the beginning. I'm basically judging the character off of 4 different things. First is their importance to the story, because some side characters are more important to the story than others. Their relationship with the main character, whether that's friends, more than friends, rivalry, enemies, whatever. Then it's realisticness, so how realistic is this character? Some side characters are more realistic than others. There's a surprising amount that aren't super realistic, and a surprising amount that are quite realistic. And then finally, both the least important and the most important factor is my own personal preference. It is both the deciding factor and the least important of the first 4. So it has both the most and least effect on everything that happens. So, in the past, we have done, like I said, 10 other rounds, and if you haven't seen them, I'll just give you guys a quick review of that. So the first round was Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter versus Lin Song from Keeper of the Lost Cities. Lin won. Then it was Dex Disney from Keeper of the Lost Cities versus Fred Weasley from Harry Potter. Dex won. And it was Nico D'Angelo from Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Heroes of Olympus, and The Trials of Apollo. Though I don't think I had Trials of Apollo included in that video, versus Annabeth Chase from Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus. Annabeth won. And it was Tam Song from Keeper of the Lost Cities versus Biana Vacker from Keeper of the Lost Cities. Biana won. Then it was Imogen from The Ascendants versus Keefe Sencen from Keeper of the Lost Cities. Keefe won. Then it was Hermione Granger from Harry Potter versus Leo Valdez from Percy Jackson from The Heroes of Olympus and The Trials of Apollo. Hermione won. Then it was Holt from Ranger's Apprentice, the Royal Ranger, and the earlier series, versus Ginny Weasley from Harry Potter. Surprisingly, Holt won. Then it was Roden from The Ascendants versus Jason Grace from The Heroes of Olympus and The Trials of Apollo. Roden won. Most recently, we had the most recent 2 rounds of the quarterfinals. It was Lin Song from Keeper of the Lost Cities versus Dex Disney from Keeper of the Lost Cities. Dex won. And then it was Annabeth Chase from the Heroes of Olympus, from Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus versus Biana Vacker from Keeper of the Lost Cities. Annabeth won. And this round will be Keefe Sencen from Keeper of the Lost Cities versus Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. This is going to be a tough one, I can already tell. Because these two are probably my favorite characters from their respective series. So that's fun. Yeah. I guess we'll just go over the 4 for Keefe, then the 4 for Hermione, and then compare them. Let's start with Keefe, I guess, with his importance to the story. By the way, this video will contain spoilers for the entirety of Keeper of the Lost Cities Book 1 through 8.5, and all of Harry Potter Books 1 through 7. Yeah, so let's get into it. So Keefe, from Keeper of the Lost Cities. His importance to the story is pretty big. He's basically one of the main 4 people that we focus on the most. In fact, he's one of the 2 people that we focus on the most. He's basically a secondary main character of the series, though he's not the actual main character, which is Sophie, obviously. But we actually did get his perspective in several short stories, as well as in book 8.5 itself, which was really cool. Okay. Yep. Hello. What's up? Can you close the door all the way, maybe, please? All the way? Okay, fine, I'll close it. That's fine. Luckily, I'm close enough to the door. You have to pull this door up for it to close all the way, which is good fun. I've never actually remembered that door ever being intact fully. Anyways. So, yeah. Keefe's importance to the story. Like I said, he is someone we actually get a perspective from, which makes him pretty darn important, because we only get a perspective from about, 4 people. I'm not even sure if we get a Fitz perspective. No, we get a Fitz perspective in short stories, don't we? I think. I know we get Keefe, we get Sophie in the main series, I think we have a Tam perspective, and we may have some Fitz. So, 4 people we get perspectives from. And only 2 of them are from the main series. That's our main character, Sophie Foster, and then Keefe. So, yeah. He's pretty darn important. In the first book, he's a little less important. He's kind of just teases Sophie a lot. There's a moment where she thinks that he might like her, which, of course, he does, though I don't think he does at this point. But yeah, he's not, the super important. He's not really a part of the main characters in the first book. He's just kind of there. Main characters in this book are mostly Sophie, Dex, and Fitz. But eventually Dex is kind of replaced by Keefe and Biana. Which is kind of unfortunate, because I love Dex, but I love a couple characters a little more than him. Yeah, so, like I said, Keefe's not super important in this book, but he becomes a little more important in Exile, but still not super. He's there with Sophie when she gets healed, and he comes on a few more missions, and he is a little more important in this book, but he especially starts to get more important when we get to book 4, Never Seen. I don't remember exactly which book it is revealed that Lady Gisela, Keefe's mom, is, basically the villain of the series. But, whenever that happens, that's when Keefe really becomes important. I think it may happen in Everblaze, but it may also happen in Never Seen. I feel like it happens in Never Seen, but at this point, whenever that happens, I know it's before book 5. It should be, it's either in book 3 or 4. I know that, because I don't think it's in book 2, because that doesn't make sense. But whenever that happens, that's when Keefe becomes a side main character. He goes from a side character to a side main character. And he's way more involved in everything, way more involved in the Black Swan, and with Sophie. He starts, I believe, developing feelings for Sophie around this time. His mom is the villain, so of course she's going to come into play a little bit more. He's very important in book 5, when he is communicating with Sophie as he is infiltrating the Never Seen itself. And he continues to be important with saving Sophie's life, even when she doesn't want him to book 8, when the thing happens, where something happens to him. Either he has an enhancement in ability, or he has a new ability, or a mutated ability, where still, I don't think we're entirely sure what it is at this point, even after Book 8.5 came out and we got more of Keefe's perspective about what's going on. But again, we get Keefe's perspective in 8.5, and of course, he leaves at the end of the book with a freaking letter, and I'm just like, dude, I love you, but you infuriate me. I may have either thrown my book at the wall when that happened, screamed, or just like almost thrown my book at the wall when that happened. I did throw my book at the wall. Well, I'm not going to say that. Actually, that's a spoiler. But I have thrown my book at the wall in the past, but only like twice. And I either did or almost did. There are only like 2 of the series that I've ever done that with. I think it was Percy Jackson and Dragon Watch, the sequel series to Fablehaven. Yeah. Anyways. So he's very important to the story. He's pretty much always there, in one way or another, and he grows way more important as the series goes on, and he's a side main character, and I hope that he will come back, because Keefe, I need you. Dude, please, come back. You're my favorite character. Let me go into his relationship with the main character, this being Sophie. His relationship with Sophie is on and off good and a little bit unhealthy sometimes. They are each other's support, but I feel like Sophie supports Keefe a little more. Keefe is often insecure, he's often guilty, and there's a lot of drama there, especially with the love triangle / love square. Yeah, it's interesting. But basically, Keith's relationship with Sophie is complicated. It's both the best thing in the world and really bad at the same time. They're good friends who are verging on the edge of kind of a relationship where Sophie's very confused about her feelings and Keefe is unsure about what to do. And yeah, it's a complicated relationship, but I think overall it's a good one. They're 2 people who need support and are finding it in each other. So while it can be a little bit strained at times, and it's not as perfectly perfect as some others, it's still a decent relationship. And certainly better than Sophie and Fitz. As for Keefe's realisticness, this is another thing that is, he's an extremely realistic character, and very relatable as well. He has real emotions that we get to dive into. He has real, relatable reactions to things. He's a broken person who's just trying to find his way in the world. A very realistic character. And I love him. And that's all I really have to say on Keefe. For now. As for Hermione, her importance to the story is insane. She's a little bit less important at the beginning of Harry Potter Book 1, the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from. Yeah. At the beginning of the book, obviously, she isn't part of the Golden Trio, but after the troll attack, she becomes part of the Golden Trio. She is a side main character, just like Keefe. She's extremely important to the story. She's the planner. She's basically the mom friend. Harry is her best friend, and obviously she marries Ron. She's important to the story in pretty much every aspect. She starts out as the annoying, know-it-all girl, and then she becomes the most important member of the trio who gets them through pretty much everything. And both Harry and Ron agree that, and everybody should agree, that she is wonderful and extremely smart and extremely talented. And if you don't love Hermione, frick you. Just saying. She's in every single book, and she is important in every single one. She always has her moments to shine. In every single book. There is not a single book where she does not have at least one shining moment. Even if it's kind of in the background a little bit. As for her relationship with the main character, Harry Potter, I think it's a good relationship overall. They're good friends. They're supportive of each other. Harry's very supportive of her relationship with Ron, and Hermione's always there for Harry, and the feeling is mutual. A lot of people ship them together. I used to. I don't think I do as much now, but I mean, they're still up there for some of my favorite ships. But overall, I love their friendship. I think that Harry can overlook her at times, and Ron certainly can. But overall, I think it's a good relationship. As for Hermione's realisticness, we do get to see some real emotions from her. Not as much as we see with Keefe, but I think that she is a real person who, well, she's not a real person, obviously, but she feels like a real person who I can kind of relate to. I'm not exactly a know-it-all, but, like, I like to read. And I don't know, I can relate to her a little bit. Not as much as I can relate to other characters, but she's decently relatable and a decently realistic character. This is going to be a bit of a shorter video, but I think it's comparison time. These videos are always a little bit shorter in the second round, and especially the third and fourth rounds. That's just the way it is, because I've already gone over these characters before, at least once. So yeah, comparison time. Importance to the story. Keefe and Hermione. This is probably going to be the hardest one. They're both very important to the story. Hermione is there more. But they're both there pretty much all the time. They're both very important to the story in different ways. I'm going to give this one a tie, actually. They get a tie for importance to the story. As for relationship with the main character, I am once again going to tie this one. Because I feel like Harry doesn't always appreciate Hermione, but I feel like they still have a decent relationship. And with Keefe and Sophie, I feel like sometimes their relationship can be strained, but it's still good. So it's both good and bad in two different ways. So I'm again going to give that a tie. As for realisticness, I am going to give this one to Keefe. I feel like he's a little bit more of a relatable or realistic character than Hermione is. And my own personal preference is once again a tie because I love these both of these people equally. And so I guess that the winner of this round of the side character tournament is Keefe Sencen from Keeper of the Lost Cities, because he was the only one that actually won something. I just can't really choose between these two characters, and I think I like Keefe just barely more, so Keefe wins. Yeah. We'll see who he will go up against in the semifinal next time. But for now, that's all I have for today for the side character tournaments. I'm going to go over my next 4 weeks worth of videos. I may start doing 2 videos a week for Keep It the Movies, but I haven't decided on that yet. If I get far enough down of a backlog, I'll make a video that says, hey, I'm doing 2 videos a week for Keep It the Movies now. Okay. So, the next 4 videos for this channel will be Holt versus Rodin in the side character tournaments, then Dex versus Annabeth in the side character tournaments, and Keefe versus someone in the side character tournaments, and then whoever wins the Dex and Annabeth and whoever wins the Keefe and someone rounds will be the final of the side character tournaments. So in 4 weeks, 1 month, we will get the finale of the side character tournaments. As for Keeper of the Movies, I have this all pulled up here. We will be doing Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 3 review, the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 4 review, the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 5 review, and the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 6 review. Yeah, I think that checks out. So, yeah. As for Keep It the Games, I believe it's just a bunch of Breath of the Wild stuff. Let me just double check, though. it may be done with my backlog by that point. Let's see. That's next week. This comes out next week, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So it's just a bunch of Breath of the Wild for the next 4 weeks, and a little farther into the future past that. So, yeah. In the meantime, that's all I have for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.